One of the things that I love about myself is I don't limit my thought. I'm not afraid to go there. Even though I may be stepping into some dark territory, I'm still going to let my mind explore it. My mind is my greatest asset, and I'm going to utilize it to the greatest ability. So I'm going to think, even if the thoughts make me a little bit uncomfortable, right? But one of the thoughts that came up when I was just sitting back chilling was, are families a liability? Now, that might sound crazy to some, but let me cook real quick. You know, every man, especially, I know the women want to save the world too, but like just speaking from my perspective, every man wants to be a superhero at some point in their life. You want to save somebody. You want to exude masculinity and strength. You want to be there to block a bullet. You wish you had superpowers so you could save the world, right? But right now, we don't have superpowers yet. Now we need a little bit more plasma energy from the sun. We need the Earth to go through its evolutionary phase to unlock some of our DNA. But until then, we have to save the world in different ways. One of the ways that I do it is try to get rid of limitations, get rid of all these mental and spiritual chains that are placed upon your mind, consciously or unconsciously. I just want to expose some things, and once exposed, you now know what you need to fix. That's how I contribute to saving the world, you know? But when you want to make the big change, eventually you're going to have to go against the big dogs. You know, like in every video game, you start off by fighting the level 5 bear, the pigs, the evil elves or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Level 1, level 2, level 10. But then you know that you're about to fight one of the bosses when the boss music comes in. You have to fight the level 20 boss. You know, you start to enter the dungeon. You know, things start to get a little darker, a little scary. Then you have to go against the big dogs. You're fighting flying demons and dragons and shit, right? You know, that's when you know that you've made it to the big leagues. Well, to save the world here, to get with the big leagues, you have to fight the invisible hand. And these are the rich and powerful people that operate in the shadows, operate in the puppet strings. And for real, it was COVID that showed me that they truly do exist. It was no longer a conspiracy for me. I said, you know what? Let me try something. I was using all the buzzwords, all the trigger words, and that's when I got my first video removed off of YouTube. I've had like 3 or 4 videos removed off of my channel, but they didn't give me strikes. That I find very interesting. But nevertheless, you know, they removed videos from my channel which exposed the invisible hand. And when you want to expose these bankers that own your entire life, dictating all these, sending you all this mail, sending you all these bills and these taxes and these fees that are only enforced by statutes and codes and not laws. You know, once you realize what the game is and you try to get too big with it, they're going to do something about it. You know, if you want to make a car that doesn't run off of gasoline, because the oil industry is a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industry. So if people start making their own vehicles, they don't like that. So if you're trying to make a patent with a water-powered engine, go look at the 2 people that tried to do that. What happened to them? They got offed. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be like Lincoln and JFK, and you want to take the money away from the Federal Reserve, which is a privately owned for-profit entity that doesn't actually create real money. They make fiat currency. Fiat equals fake, colorable in the eyes of the law currency. It has no real value. But like JFK and Abraham Lincoln, when they wanted to use greenbacks or take money away or go back to a gold-back standard like Gaddafi in Libya and all this type of stuff, what do? They off you. So the biggest evils are the ones that are financed by the most powerful people. So even though I would be willing to give my life for that fight, my family ain't about that time, and that's how they move. If they can't get to you, or if it draws too much attention to them by killing you, they're gonna threaten you with your family. And that's the type of stuff that I find to be crazy, man. I find it to be incredibly cowardly too. But nevertheless, it's like, is family a liability, man? You know, as much as I want to see my kids frolicking like these kids in the park right here, it's like there's also that part of me that I want to put my life on the line to save people. Some of the stuff that I've been talking about in my little grassroots style of content here. You know, I've gotten emails with death threats. You know, I've been told that my life is in danger multiple times. You know, but I still do what I do because I really don't care. And especially back then, I was so depressed. I had nothing to live for anyway. Even though I was giving y'all the motivation, it's like, you need to go check on your strong friends. That's that song by Royce da 5'9", your strong friend. You know, it was like a Kevin Gates clip where it's like you always check on the strong friend because the strong friend's strong for everybody else, even though they're going through it because they don't want to see that same pain that they're feeling inside in other people. You know what I'm saying? So that's a quick little sidebar, but nevertheless. But yeah, man, Like, that's one of those cowardly things that cowards do. They can't get to you, so they'll get to your kid at the playground. They'll go get your wife when she's at work. You know, they'll do all this sneaky, underhanded stuff to maintain their power. And to expose them, you have to rally the forces. You know, this is why all the black leaders get killed. This is why we're taught that all of these other these people in Africa and these Middle Eastern countries, we're taught that they're terrorists and this and that, when all they were really doing, like, well, I believe Gaddafi, he wanted to go to a gold-backed currency. There was some French dude, I forgot the name. Either way, they wanted to trade their oil, they wanted to trade their resources for euros instead of the US fiat dollar. And that's why they got rid of that person. You see how this game is played? So yeah, some of you think that you're fighting, you are putting up the good fight at the surface level, but there's levels to this shit. And some of you don't even know, you're putting up the good fight, but you don't even know that there's levels above that. Some of you think that you're fighting racism. That's dictated by the top. The United States of America is a corporation, is incorporated. It was incorporated in Great Britain or whatever, London, somewhere over there with the blokes and the non-seasoned food. But nevertheless, it's like, that's where it was. You know, people think that we won the Revolutionary War, the 1776 is when we granted our freedom. They didn't leave till like 96, like 1796. So what were they doing for 20 years? You see? So there's levels to this shit. They gave you a fight. They gave you a war. Black Lives Matter. They gave you that organization. That was funded by George Soros, a multi-billionaire. You know what I'm saying? It's like, once you realize the level of this game, you realize that the only way to get to, like, to solve the problem is take it up by the roots. But the roots are so ingrained in our culture that most of the people living here, they think that they're, you know, following the rules and being a good person, but you're following a fake set of rules that do not actually apply to you. But when you start talking like this is when videos get banned. This is when channels get striked. That's when you just wake up, you can't log into your account. This is when people die. This is when people get mysteriously sick. You know, Muhammad Ali, how outspoken he was, and what did they do? They silenced him. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes they won't kill you. They'll keep you alive, and they'll make you an example. They do this stuff to instill fear. Whenever there is fear and there is division, you know that the invisible hand has something to do with it. You see what I'm saying? This is the world that we live in. Now, of course, when you can get all metaphysical with it and you can escape the matrix, but for me personally, I know how to get out of the matrix. I know I keep coming back here. I know I've said it in multiple older videos, man, I ain't coming back again, but yes, I will. When I die, I'm gonna come right back here to save the souls of people stuck in this matrix. I know that's what I'm gonna keep on doing. There might be a time where I ascend and I go on to higher planes, but I know I got a couple more lifetimes in me where I'm gonna just keep on coming back. I'm gonna keep on reminding people. I'm gonna keep on somehow being able to elude all the rules that everyone else is subjugated to. And like, I'm gonna just keep on speaking my truth in every generation. Whether we get into the dystopia and everything's crypto and all the robots and the AIs tracking everything. I mean, they already are now. But nevertheless, like, even if I come back in that time, or if I go back into caveman time where big caveman is like knocking everybody's heads with a giant club, and I'm the one that for some reason he can't get to, I'm gonna keep on talking my shit in every lifetime I'm in. But nevertheless, it's like, sometimes it gets scary whenever you have people that you love that can also be threatened. That makes you want to think. That's why when you get, well, if you're someone like me, that you're just automatically rebellious, you're always going against the grain, you're trying to wake people up, you're trying to save the world, whoever you're with, they have to understand who you really are, and they have to know what they're signing up for. You know what I'm saying? That's just, it is what it is. My parents know what it is. My grandmama knows what it is. My girl knows what it is. And say, I'll never put their lives in direct danger, but there's certain things that could potentially come with being with someone like me. All the true warriors out there, whether you're a mental warrior, a physical warrior, a spiritual warrior, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But that's just something I wanted to think about. I'm not really sure where I was going with that. That's just a thought that I wanted to get off. Till the next one. Peace.